Hi, this is Diana from Yarnettes Crochet, and today we're going to learn how to change colors while we are crocheting. And I'm going to show you first with a swatch of single crochet. So what you do is you go ahead and complete the last stitch that you're going to complete in the middle of that row. I'm going to yarn over just like I normally would with the single crochet. And I have 2 loops on my hook. Now I'm going to use my pointer finger. I'm going to hang onto those loops on my hook. I'm going to drop my working yarn. Then I'm going to take my new yarn and lay it over the top of my hook. I'm going to let it rest in the throat of the hook. And I'm going to complete the stitch with the new color. Then I'm going to take my previous color, I'm going to tug it down a little bit, and then I'm also going to tug the new working yarn or new tail a little bit, and now I'm going to catch the 2 yarns, the 2 tails in the next single crochet stitch using the new color. So I'm going to insert my hook. Do you see those 2 tails? I'm going to let them rest right on top of that hook. Yarn over. Yarn over and complete my single crochet. So that's my first stitch in my new color. I think I'm going to do one more stitch in the new color, and I'm going to catch those 2 tails one more time. So now I have 2 stitches completed in the new color. Now if you look on the back of your work, you can see, you can kind of see where the yarns were carried in those stitches. I give those just a tiniest little tug. And as you complete your project, at least your yarn is anchored under those 2 stitches, and then you can go back and weave in those tails the traditional way. Some people continue to crochet and bury those yarns in the following stitches, and you can do that too. So that's changing the color in the middle of the row. I'm going to go ahead and use my new color, and I'm going to crochet until the end of the row. And at the end of the row, I'm going to show you a second method of changing colors, and I call it the after stitch method. So this is the last stitch in the row. I'm going to go ahead and complete the stitch as I normally would. I remove my hook from the loop or from the project. And then I go back and I insert my hook back through these 2 loops in the single crochet into the top loop and the sidebar. Then I take the new color and I wrap it, and I just pull it through both of those loops. And then I pull the other color down. And then I'm ready to start my next row. Single crochet, you would be doing 1 chain, and you can bury those 2 yarns. I like to bury them in carry them in 1 stitch at least. So that shows you how to do that 2 different ways. I call it the after stitch method and the traditional method. So I do want to show you mid-row how to do that after stitch method. So you complete your stitch the way you normally would. And then I would pull up a little bit of a loop there. And let's take the new color. And then I'm going to insert my hook down through the top of the stitch and through that side bar of the stitch. Lay the yarn on top and pull it through. Then take the previous color and just pull it down. I'm going to pull that down again. Tighten that up a little bit. Now I have my new color on the hook. I'm going to take my 2 tails and I'm going to carry or bury those tails as I make the next stitch in the new color. Just like that. Let's look at the back. You can see the 2 tails. This becomes my working yarn and these become my tails right here. So that's how you would do it with single crochet. So let's take a look at double or half double crochet. Okay, so here's a half double crochet swatch. For this one, we're going to start with the traditional method. With the traditional method, you're going to, this is half double crochet, so I'd yarn over. And instead of yarning over with, or no, I would yarn over and pull through a loop, so I have my 3 loops on my hook. Now normally you would yarn over and pull through all 3 to complete that stitch, but what you're going to do is you're going to take your working yarn, or your new color, new color, lay it on top of your hook, let it catch inside the throat of the hook, and pull it through those 3 loops to complete the stitch. And then I take the previous color and I kind of give it a gentle tug. I'm going to tension my yarn. Then I'm going to find my 2 tails. Here are my 2 tails. And I'm going to bury my 2 tails by holding them behind my work, and I'm going to complete another half double crochet in my new color, catching those yarns on top of that stitch. Let me do it one more time. I don't think I did that very well. So I have those 2 yarns right kind of on top of the stitch. I'm going to pretend they are part of the stitch. Yarn over in the new color, insert my hook. I'm going to catch those 2 tails so they get buried or carried in that new stitch. So let's look at the back. You can kind of see it a little bit. Give it a little gentle tug. And that's half double crochet. Now half double crochet, changing color with half double crochet at the end of the row looks a little different. I'm going to quickly complete this row of half double crochet. With half double crochet at the end of a row, you typically have a chain 2 for a turning chain. So let's see how changing colors at the end of a row works with half double crochet. All right. So normally when you are going to go to your next row, you would chain 2. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to do the traditional method of changing color. At the end of the row, this is our last stitch, I'm going to yarn over as usual, insert my hook, pull through so I have 3 loops on my hook. You're going to lay your new yarn on your hook, let it catch inside the throat, complete your stitch. Give the previous yarn a tug so it tightens it up. Now you're going to tension your yarn. Now you're going to do your chain 2 in your new color. Turn your work. Now what about these tails? You can catch these tails in the new stitch by yarning over. I'm going to catch them right in there. Then I'm going to give this new yarn a tug, the previous yarn a little tug, and I'm going to bury those 2 yarns with the next stitch, or carry them 1 more stitch so it kind of locks them down so you know they're not going to come out, and they'll be there waiting for you. The tails will be there waiting for you to further weave in when you're done with your project. So this is what that looks like on one side. Let's look at the other side. And if you need to give things a little tug, that's okay. So the side of the stitch is done in the new color. So it keeps the row all one color. So it doesn't start out with the previous color and then go to the blue or the new color. Okay. So if I was to use the after stitch method, the big difference is you change the color after the stitch is completed. So I'm going to complete a half double crochet, finish the whole thing, complete my half double crochet, and I missed this bar right in here. I missed it. Where's my... I need to go back down through this one, this bar, and this bar. All 3 of those. And I missed it. I only did those 2. So I messed up there. Whoops. So I'm going to go back through and try to do this correctly. There we go. Catch that 3rd bar. There, I got it. Now lay my new yarn on. Make sure I have enough tail. Sometimes my tails get a little short. Now I'm going to pull it back through all 3 loops. Now when I pull that yarn out, it's perfect. It stays nice and tight. And I can make my chain 2. And if you do not want to bury these tails up in the next stitch, you don't have to do that. It's not going anywhere. You can go ahead and do your half double crochet without trying to bury those tails. It can be a little fiddly. It's fine. It's fine. It's got enough of an anchor. It's not going to come out as you continue to work your rows. There's a front or back side, because that's the front side. Okay, now let's do this same process with a double crochet. Let's find my double crochet swatch. Okay. Let's do a traditional color change. Yarn over, insert, pull through 2, Then lay your yarn, your new color across your hook. Pull through the last two to complete the stitch. Give that previous yarn a tug. Whoops. Tension your yarn. And with this stitch, I would try to bury my two tails in the next stitch. Yarn over. Hold those two yarns right there next to the stitch and complete that double crochet. Let me do one more. I'm going to bury it one more time. There's the front. So here's the two tails right here. Let's look at the back. Here they are down here. Just kind of right there. Those are the tails right there. But they are carried inside those stitches or buried inside those stitches. Okay, let's try the traditional or the after stitch method of changing color with a double crochet. And I use both methods at different times. It just depends on what I'm working on, or it depends on the project itself. I use both methods. Sometimes I use the traditional and sometimes I use the after stitch. Now in this one, in the after stitch with the double crochet, you only need to insert your hook through the top of the stitch and through this top bar. With the half double, we had 3 we had to go through. The top of the stitch and 2 bars. With the double, it's just the top of the stitch and 1 bar. So let's do that. It's very easy. It's easier to do in double crochet than it is in single or half double to do this after stitch method. And it's very clean. It's very nice with double crochet. I'm going to tighten this up just a hair. And I'm going to try to bury these yarns. I'm going to hold them right there, yarn over, and catch those yarns inside the stitch and complete my double crochet. I'm going to do one more. Oopsies. Okay. So there you can see the color change. Yes, you can see a little bit on the back. But it's not too bad. If you don't want to bury your yarns, you don't have to. It just gives it a little bit of an anchor. Like if you just want to bury the yarn in after one stitch and then let the 2 tails fall and then continue to double crochet, you can do that as well. I tend to do at least 1 stitch so that it anchors the yarn just a little bit. You can do it like that. All right, let's do the traditional method at the end of the row, and then I want to show you the traditional way, and then I want to show you an alternative turning chain. If you're changing colors at the end of the row, that looks cleaner and nicer. I've got my yarns all tangled up, sorry. All right, let's complete this. This is my last stitch. No, it's not. My chain is my last stitch. I need to crochet into the top of the turning chain. I don't know what my problem is there. Okay. All right. So if we're going to be doing a traditional color change at the end of a double crochet row, we would not complete the stitch. you would do part of it. You would yarn over and pull through two, and then complete the stitch with the new color. Now, traditionally, double crochet, there has a chain 3 as your turning chain. You turn your work. You do not crochet into the first stitch, you crochet into the second stitch, which is fine. It's totally fine. It's a little, the gap that you have is a little bit more noticeable. It's even more noticeable when you've done a color change. So what I want to show you is what's called a stacked single crochet. So I've changed colors. Instead of doing a chain, I'm going to turn my work right away. I'm going to go back into the first stitch and do a single crochet. Then I'm going to catch the left or the right bar, depending on if you're crocheting left or right-handed, of that single crochet. I'm going to treat it like a loop. I'm going to yarn over, pull it through, and do another single crochet right on top of it. So this right here, take that out. This would be the top of the stitch right here. Oops. And then let me do a couple more double crochets so you can see that it helps reduce the look of the gap at the end of the row. I think it looks a little bit better, especially when you're changing colors. So let's just do the after stitch method. You complete the double crochet, pull it, turn your work, and we can do our stacked single crochet. One single crochet, use the bar of the single crochet, yarn over, pull through, do another single crochet on top, single crochet. And it makes a really nice neat color change, and it makes a nice look at the end of the rows. It's not too bulky, but when you're first doing this, as you're first learning how to do this, I would mark the top of that stitch so you don't mess up and end up trying to go down into here at the end of the row. You know, just so you know exactly where to insert your hook. And it looks pretty nice. I think it looks pretty nice. Okay, so those are two methods to change colors, the traditional method and the after stitch method. I use both. It's good to learn both of those techniques to have in your crochet toolbox. Until next time, this is Diana from Yarn Eddie's Crochet. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you later.